Hello, friends, and welcome to the No Bad Shifts podcast, a show for nursing students, new nurses, and all those in healthcare devoted to helping others and making the world for patients a better place. I'm Nurse Studa, your host, here to offer nursing tips, stories, motivation, and conversations with some of my favorite healthcare professionals so we can better learn to collaborate to make the hospital a more positive and supportive environment. Remember, with the right mindset, you really can learn from every day, and there really are no bad shifts. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of No Bad Shifts. I'm Nurse Studa, and today I wanted to help walk you through some things to consider and different options that you have when choosing the right nursing program for you. So, of course, anybody set out to go to nursing school has the goal of getting accepted, getting through all of your classes, all your clinicals, passing your exit exam, graduating, sitting for the NCLEX, and getting that nursing license. The beauty of nursing that I think is probably one of the coolest things is that there are actually several tracks to getting your nursing license. You don't just have to do a 4-year degree, which I think is pretty unique to so many professions. So basically, there are 3 main ways for you to be able to sit for the NCLEX. So basically, you have the associate's degree versus the traditional BSN versus the accelerated BSN. Of course, they all have their pros and their cons, and depending on who you talk to, people are usually biased towards one or the other, and that all depends on the things that they want to prioritize. But objectively speaking, an associate's degree will likely be 2 to 3 years, typically is much more affordable. You will definitely get some core classes in there like anatomy and physiology, statistics, biochem, microbiology, psych, nutrition. However, the majority of your classes are going to be focused primarily on nursing. You will get your clinical hours in, your lab time in, and after graduating, you are eligible to sit for the NCLEX. And when everything is all said and done, you will have your RN license and can start working. Now, the only thing to really keep in mind about this is that there are many hospitals out there now, especially if you're looking at big teaching hospitals or magnet hospitals. A lot of them in their application, you will see that it says BSN preferred or even BSN required. So this has to do with magnet status and that hospital having a certain percentage of their nurses enrolled or completed their BSNs and their MSNs. So depending on where you want to work when you're finished might play a role in your decision if you want to get your associate's degree versus your bachelor's degree right off the bat. However, after finishing your associate's degrees, there are so many programs out there. A lot of them are online that you go RN to BSN, and that'll give you just some of those like leadership and like research type classes. You'll be writing a lot of papers. It's no longer like hands-on clinical stuff. It's just like the other side of things to get your bachelor's. And a lot of people, when they take this route, they're able to get the hospital that hires them to pay for their BSN degree, likely with some kind of commitment to that hospital. So in the end, it is definitely a way to save a lot of money and still be able to graduate pretty quick and be working as a nurse and getting real life experience and making real money. And then the next track people are probably most familiar with is just your traditional 4-year BSN program. These, of course, will be at tons of large and small universities. Throughout your 4 years, you will still get all of those core classes along with other things that fulfill the bachelor's side of your degree. You'll get some of those leadership-y type classes as well. And then when you finish and graduate, you have your bachelor's degree. And again, we'll sit for your NCLEX. And once you get your license, you are free to start working probably anywhere. Of course, these universities are going to be much more costly and will probably take you the 4 or 5 years to finish. And then the third most common track is going to be your accelerated BSN program. These have become so much more popular throughout the past, decade. And basically, you have to have a previous bachelor's degree, which can be literally in anything, as long as you also fulfill those prereq courses with like the anatomy, physiology, biochem, psych, nutrition, all that good stuff. And typically, they prefer or require those classes to be within the last 5 5 years. So sometimes, depending on your previous degree, you might have to take some of those classes, which can be done at a community college or wherever, and then you are free to apply to an accelerated program. These are typically anywhere from like 1 year to 18 months, and it is strictly nursing. So you're going to get all of your core nursing classes, all your clinical hours, and it is going to be jam-packed into a few semesters. I am a huge advocate of this because this is exactly where I was sitting 5 years ago working to become a nurse. And I think it is one of the coolest and most unique things that you could be somebody working in any profession in life. And if you have a previous bachelor's degree in any degree, whether it's biology or something science-based or literally business, music, fashion, whatever it is, and you also complete these prereqs, you can become a nurse in about a year, which when I think about it sometimes still think it is so amazing, but it's happening and I did it and I had so many friends do it and people are doing it across the country every day, which is amazing because we need more nurses and we kind of need them now. Also, how amazing that you can wake up any point in your life and realize that you might not be happy and maybe a career in nursing could be more fulfilling. You don't have to spend years and years changing your path. When I was in my program, I saw plenty of people who were well into their career in something completely different. And now I see these people and they are doing amazing in nursing. So just know that if you are considering this, that you are not stuck and there are options out there for you, and I would love to support you on your accelerated nursing journey. But anyway, those are the 3 most common ways to be able to graduate with a nursing degree and sit for the NCLEX. So depending where you are in life, definitely take advantage of this and really weigh all your options. And no matter what, I want you to know that your story is completely unique and special, and you should totally embrace it because it is a part of your journey to becoming a nurse. Your experiences and your memories are going to be completely different than anybody else, and that's going to carry right with you as you step into nursing. I want you to remember that you know what your priorities are. As you're looking for nursing schools, people are going to be very quick to tell you their experience and why you should do an accelerated program and why you need to get your bachelor's or why you need to not be in debt or why you need to get done faster or why you need to make sure that you have a job afterwards or why you need to do this and that and this and that. And it's like, ugh, can everybody just be quiet for 2 seconds so I can figure out what the heck I even want? You know what is important to you and you know where you're going to thrive. You know where you're going to be excited and happy and engaged and motivated to get you through nursing school. Maybe for you, the priority is to get done as fast as you can. And maybe that's looking at an associate's degree program. Maybe that's an accelerated program. Maybe you want to finish with the least amount of debt. Maybe your goal is to get into one specific school and you are willing to wait until you have that opportunity to get there. Maybe you want to just get to any big city, or maybe you want to try a totally new city. Maybe you want to stay really close to home so that you have your family nearby, or maybe you also have to work while you're in nursing school, which might dictate how far away you can even travel to. Maybe you want to go to a smaller community school that rotates through like 1 or 2 hospitals, and you want to graduate and be almost guaranteed to get a job as soon as you pass that NCLEX. Whereas maybe you want to go to a big city and just experience a ton of different hospitals and health systems and get the chance to just live in a city for the first time. And guys, any one of these choices can be the right choice. And also, none of these choices could be the right choice. It is up to you and your life and what you want. And only you know what that is. So I really encourage you to sit down and envision your next year or couple years of getting through nursing school. And what does it look like? Where are you studying? What kind of people are you going to meet? What are you doing in your free time during this? Where do you see yourself living and how you see yourself commuting? What hospitals are you going to be doing your clinicals at? Who are your biggest supporters in your life and how close do you want them while you're going through this experience? Where do you see yourself after you graduate? Are you trying to quickly get the best experience you can so you can be a traveler? Do you have plans to go back to school to become an NP? Are you trying to become a nurse anesthetist? I think sometimes just envisioning it and manifesting like what you want your life to look like will automatically help narrow down the million choices that are in front of you. I'm someone who gets easily overwhelmed by too many choices. But once I decided for me that I wanted to do an accelerated program, I wanted it to be less than 15 months. I didn't want to have to take any more random prereq classes. I honestly didn't care that I was going to be in more debt since this was going to be my second degree. I knew for a fact I wanted to move to a new city and I wanted to live on my own for that 1 year and really experience being a city girl and take the subway and walk to class. As I started narrowing down schools, I realized I also kind of wanted to be closer to home. Philly is only like an hour away from my parents' house, and honestly, it was the greatest thing being able to take breaks from school, drive home for the weekend, still be able to see all my friends, which really helped keep me motivated. And it was also a really nice place that a ton of people came to visit me throughout that year. And had I moved somewhere like 15 hours away, it definitely wouldn't have looked the way that it did. I was also fortunate enough to be able to keep my job and work per diem, so I was able to drive back and forth when school wasn't so hectic or I wasn't so stressed out and could pick up a few hours and make some extra money. Just be sure to really focus in on yourself and listen to what you really want and really need. Try to tune everybody else out because it is going to be you that is staying up until 4 a.m. studying pathophys. It is you that's going to be going to all these clinicals and doing hours on hours of your lab sessions. It is not your parents or your sister or your grandmother who's a nurse that insists she knows what's best for you. And you deserve to find the perfect school to make this happen. So once you narrow in on what type of program you want to do, there's definitely a few more objective things you want to look at for every school that'll help give you a little bit better picture of what you might be getting into. So first and foremost, make sure that you are looking at a program that is accredited. There are two main licensing organizations, and they are ACEN and CCNE. So just make sure that the program talks about this and shows this somewhere on their website to ensure that you're going to a good school with a certain level of standard and is approved by your state so you can sit for the NCLEX and earn your license as a nurse. Definitely take a look at what the school's pass rate is and then subsequently what their NCLEX pass rate is. So these will definitely look a little bit different probably because the pass rate could just be any percent of the people that first start the program and then actually finish the program. And now the NCLEX pass rate, this is going to tell you if you do pass the program, what are the chances of you passing the NCLEX? Now, this is the number you do want to be high because you want to know that if you finish this program that you have learned enough information and you are well prepared to sit for that NCLEX and pass. Trust me, that test is already stressful enough. You want to go in feeling as confident as possible, knowing that all this time and effort you put into nursing school has you well prepared. I also encourage you to take a look at what the class sizes are likely going to be, especially if this is something that is really important to you. A few of my classes were in large lecture halls all the way down to smaller groups. And our clinical group sizes were about 8 or 9. And I think in total, we had about 150 graduate in the end. Make sure you're looking to see when their start times are. Some schools have like a fall and a spring start. Some go by semesters, some go by quarters. And then again, just be sure that you are looking into what your clinical experience is going to be like. I know sometimes that can be an afterthought because you're first worried about just getting into school and what the school experience is going to be like. But your clinical experience is going to really help shape the hands-on knowledge you're going to bring starting out as a new graduate. Again, you'll know what is best for you, but these are just a few things across all programs that I think is definitely worth looking into. So as you really start to narrow in, definitely do a lot of research on that exact specific school and really outline the things that are required, how much it's going to cost, when the start dates are, when the deadlines are. Do you need 2 letters of recommendation? Do you need 3 references? How long does your essay have to be? Because every program, while essentially it'll be teaching you the same thing, they are all still built totally different. I remember being such a nerd and making like a massive spreadsheet of like every accelerated program in the Northeast, what set them all apart, what were my chances of getting in them, because the last thing I wanted to do was to miss a deadline or miss a chance to be starting any of the schools and be delayed by like another 6 months or a year. And while you're doing all this research about these different programs, I really encourage you to try to attend an open house or one of their virtual online question and answer sessions to really get an inside view of what the program's going to look like. I remember I went to several different open houses and it really kind of highlighted how that program was being led. And I think your initial reaction to these things is such a great indicator of how you're going to feel in the program. I remember going to one of the open houses and one of the higher ups in that nursing program was sitting there saying, like, you will not have a life during nursing school. Like, this will be everything that you do. Prepare to give up any fun or your friends and family and just tell them you'll see them in a year because this is going to be your focus. And I was like, ew, I don't really like that. And then I remember sitting in on a totally different program, also in Philly, and they were like, we are so excited to have you here. Our program is super interactive. It's very supportive. And we believe that if you are accepted to our school, we believe that we can make you a nurse in 1 year. And they acknowledge that we are all coming in with different backgrounds and different work experience. And all of that adds to who we are as people and how we're going to be as future nurses someday. And I was thinking like, hey, that sounds way more like me. It was just so much warmer and so much more positive. They sounded really supportive and actually helped instill some of that confidence in me that like I can actually do this and made me really excited to get started rather than scare me into feeling like I had to devote my whole entire year to nursing school, which of course kind of happens anyway. But just knowing that we are still people and that we still have lives and we still have friends and family and things still go wrong that are out of our control. And you want to feel supported in that. So it was kind of cool because I actually got waitlisted at the first school that was sounding a little too intense for me anyway. But not long after, I got accepted to the second school and very happily accepted a seat, which is where I ended up going, only later to find out that I did get accepted the first one, and I very happily declined, saying, I think that I found a program that is a better fit for me and felt a little more supportive, which was very empowering. So yes, I do think it's so important to take all these other things into consideration that are very important to you, but also take notice of just like how you feel when talking to people at the school. Do some investigating online and see if you can find real people talking about the program. There's a website called allnurses.com that it's just like threads that people can just ask questions or start a topic on. And I remember finding plenty of threads on the accelerated program that I did. And that felt like real people giving their actual 2 cents on their experience and things they wish they would have known or things that they wish they would have done different. And I remember doing the same thing on Facebook and finding Facebook groups of previous cohorts that had already gone through. But sometimes it's so hard to tell when you just go online and look at a program's website or just like whatever generic information that they're giving out to people. Like, of course, that's all marketing and designed to be all fluffy and happy. Again, there is no right or wrong answer. There's no right path or this is the better path. It is totally about what you want and what you want your story to look like. So part of the reason why I felt so moved to do this episode is because exactly 5 years ago, I was in Philadelphia and I was in the midst of all the hype of the Eagles winning their first Super Bowl. And fast forward to now, it's 2023 and the Eagles are on their way to the Super Bowl yet again. And it really had me reminiscing on my time in Philly and my experience as a nursing student and just all the opportunities that that city allowed me to have and how special it felt to be a part of all the excitement and the energy of the entire city. And I think one of the coolest things looking back on this is the fact that so many people said exactly what that woman did at that open house, that nursing school is going to take up your whole life. You're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to miss out on all these things. And if you're able to manage your time and put in 100% when you are studying and when you're focused at school, you still absolutely have your life. And I can promise you that I didn't miss a single exciting moment when it came to the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. I was there that night. I went to the parade and just got to be there to celebrate everything in between. So I guess my advice to you is to just take this process of finding the right fit for you seriously and just be open to new experiences and things that you probably can't even predict right now. I never would have expected my year in Philly to be the way that it was and to be so moved there that I wanted to stay and become a nurse right in that city and care for all those people of Philadelphia. In honor of today being the Super Bowl, sorry to anybody that is a Kansas fan, but you bet I will be rooting for Philly. I will be there, and that city will always feel like it is a part of me because of my opportunity to do nursing school there. So obviously I have to hit you with go Birds. And also, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions on any of these programs. I am learning more and more as I work as a professional nurse and just would love to support you as you find the right fit for you. And be prepared for an exciting year or 4 years or 2 or 3 years. And just know that all the time and effort you are putting into this process right now will absolutely pay off the day that you are able to sign your name with RN behind it. And every day that you get to introduce yourself to another person or a patient and tell them that you are their nurse. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Reach out to me at Nurse Duda on Instagram. Remember that your story is yours and it doesn't have to look like anybody else's. And that is what makes life so special and unpredictable and fun. And when you take the time to reflect on it, you will see just how awesome your story is too. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day and may you find light in every shift. Until next time.